up? What's up? What's up? To everybody on the internet. Hi, I'm Kevin, and I have my co-host with me.
I'm Nitin. Yeah, I'm literally just sitting here waiting for you to do the intro because that's exactly what we thought you were going to do. But okay, episode one, we can make these mistakes. It's totally cool.
All right. So sticking to the plan, this is our attempt to podcast. Hopefully, many
Yeah,
times a month.
yeah,
But
yeah.
what we are looking out to do is we're going to do this sort of a weekly rundown of what is what in tech and lifestyle,
Yeah,
and who are the two most important people to do this. Internet's
the two
most underrated and
YouTubers.
underappreciated YouTubers, right? So,
Absolutely. Dude, like
so
we're the two guys who nobody wants to listen to talking tech. Majority of the time, everyone in our life doesn't give a shit about our love for tech either. And this is exactly why we're here on the internet to talk to you guys about stuff.
I was not about to say this, but disclaimers. This is not a full-time job. All right.
No, definitely
This
not.
is
No,
this
for
is this
sure.
is not what we do 24/7. That's what we like to tell ourselves at least. So all those keyboard warriors, do your thing. Comments are
Yeah.
great. Engagement. We would
Come at me, bro.
love if you could come down and leave us comments
For sure.
and a like and probably a subscribe if you still want to pick on us next week. So
Yeah, if you want to fight us week in and week out and talk trash to us, you have to subscribe. Like that's
yeah,
the only part
that's
of the deal that works for us.
absolutely.
And we let you pick on us all the time. Don't worry. We are those tech nerds living in two different parts of the world right now, trying to figure out this entire YouTube space and this entire podcast space because we are two people who like to talk microprocessors and chips and how much RAM do you have on your computer. And nobody gives a shit about that stuff. So we're doing it right here on the internet because we think there are going to be a couple of more people out there, just like 1% or like 0.05% of the people in the world who actually give a shit. And if you're one of them, come at us, bro.
Yeah, welcome. And if you're tuning in early in the morning, first thing, enjoy your breakfast. And if you're tuning in during lunch or dinner, enjoy your meal. This is a good time. Nothing gross is going to be discussed.
No, yeah. We should probably get a drink in one of the future episodes. That'll be fun. It's always been like one of those ideal moments for me to sit down with a bunch of tech nerds, grab a couple of beers and talk Apple products. Because that's basically what we're going to be doing majoritively on this channel. We are the Apple sheep at the end of the day, aren't we?
And like Nitin said, we give a bit of preference here to the Apple ecosystem. So
Yeah, Apple sheep, bro. The word is Apple sheep.
Apple sheep. So let's start off the podcast by speaking a bit about the kind of things that came out last week. So
Yeah, for sure.
everybody got their hands on the iPad Pro. I'm sure
I
we were
actually
geeking
didn't.
out. Yeah, we were actually geeking out about it during the event, and we were at
Yeah.
least we thought that we were about to get one.
Yeah.
Nitin, why don't you take it away and tell me why didn't you get the new iPad Pro?
So I've been an iPad Pro user for the last 2 years until May 2024 that I was purely iPad. Like we basically have a bunch of videos talking about a lot of tech on the internet, but I was one of those guys who actually lived those videos. I worked off of an iPad. I edited off of an iPad. I watched content off of it. Hell, I even studied for my maritime exams off of an iPad, and I love the device. I think it's phenomenal. But then there comes a day when you realize that beyond that beautiful combination of glass and metal, that thin sheet that's in your hand, there are thermal problems. And those thermal problems hit me hard over the last 6 months. Like, dude, I couldn't even edit a bunch of the videos that I make on my own personal YouTube channel, link in the description, by the way, on the iPad Pro anymore because it would just bug out or Final Cut Pro would crash. And thermal throttling was a major issue for this device. And it's a fact, no matter how good or how powerful the iPads are, thermal throttling is something that's going to come and hit you. No matter how many times Apple tells you that they've redesigned the entire chassis for you and given better thermal management, it is a thing. You need a fan. And that's exactly why inherently computers for the last, I think, 2 decades have had fans, right? Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
Thin possible, bro. Thin possible is the tagline.
Thin possible is the tagline. So I very recently got gifted slash asked for slash whatever, like the iPad Pro 12.9 because I never owned one. Yeah, while this whole situation was getting built up, I had an iPad mini, right? 256 gigabytes, Wi-Fi, what they call the Grail iPad.
That is the only real iPad remaining, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that is the iPad.
As much as the iPad mini excited me, the iPad Pro was always something that was like the must-have device for productivity. So I said, okay, I don't have to carry my M3 MacBook Pro to work, or it could stay at work and I could carry my iPad back. It could be content consumption, productivity, everything.
Yeah.
And And then when the Apple iPad Pro event happened, me and Nikhil were on Instagram, blasting each other's DMs, talking about
Yeah.
something that is so thin that I'm a
Yeah.
big guy, right? If I fall asleep and turn onto it, it's going to capsize onto itself. Yeah. So the thin
I
is
mean,
not
Ben
something that
Gate.
is, yeah, Ben Gate.
I hate to say it.
The thin is not something that excites me. What really excited me was the display. Now,
Oh
listen,
yeah.
we are display nerds. So
Yeah.
the display nerds here at the Weekly Tech Fix. So
Yeah, for sure.
1600 nits of peak
Of
HDR
brightness.
brightness.
Oh my God. Bro, tandem OLED. Like that's the
Tandem
first the
OLED.
world has even heard of this. Like tandem OLED was pretty much discovered in the last 1 month or like let's say 2 weeks. It's brand new to all of us. And the mini LED display was touted as one of the best displays ever to hit the market. And like, oh my God. And I had that and it was brilliant. Like our M3 MacBook Pros have the mini LED display on them and they're so good.
So
But
good.
to tandem OLED, like even deeper blacks. And I know there's a bunch of Windows dudes and Android dudes who probably stumbled upon this podcast. And if you're here at this point, you can come at us in the comment section. But trust me, there is no other company that does tandem OLED as well as Apple does. And it's a fact. Go pick up that damn device.
I was about to say the same thing. I know there are certain, for a fact, there is something that LG was doing with tandem OLED technology. They have products
Yeah.
in the market already. Samsung, if I'm not wrong, was working to do something with that. But
Yeah.
like Apple does everything, they wait for the competition to
drop what they have to
to
drop.
drop what they have, and then they're better on that, and that's exactly what they have done.
They bring the sauce, bro. That's what they do.
They
They
bring the
bring the
sauce.
sauce. Yeah, so that's the thing. So I think even now, currently for the iPad Pros, if I'm not wrong, this is something that I read like a year ago when we had speculations about when the new iPad Pros are going to drop. And one of the articles that I read basically said that LG and Samsung were the companies that were building these displays for Apple. They do get parts from different places. So Samsung and LG have basically produced these panels. It's just Apple who tunes them the way they have to tune them. And when everything comes together, and like that's the sauce, right? That's what we're saying. That's what we absolutely love. And yeah, the display is definitely something that you and I geeked out upon crazy during that event. Like 120 hertz tandem OLED display, 1600 nits of brightness. That doesn't get better than that, and it's super thin. I know you're not somebody who's big on the thinness of the device, and like genuinely, I'm not either. Like it doesn't matter if it's thin or if it's like chunky, as long as it gets the job done. You can't ignore the fact that thin is also kind of gorgeous, dude. Like it is one of the best looking devices on the planet. Like imagine that display in your hands, and it's like it's a computer, it's a display. What's a computer?
What's a computer?
We've been through this. We've been through this so many times.
That's actually a good segue to go. What is a computer? It's a good segue to go to the internals and when we were when we were talking about the M3, I remember this during, I think M3, the presentations came out during the September event when the 15 Pro was getting announced, and we were talking about ray tracing and how it's going to change how gaming is going to be on. And then when the M4 was announced for the iPad, and I know for a fact that you were editing all your YouTube stuff on an iPad, and you told me that the only limitation you saw was there was a bit of thermal throttling because of the lack of a fan. So you were like, you were happy, but you were not like, I have paid $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 for a device, and it's not giving me the sort of a performance that I want.
Exactly. It was after Halloween, and that's why it was called the Scary Fast event as well. Like they went with the whole Halloween theme, if I'm not wrong. And they shot the entire thing on the iPhone, which is something we have to talk about another day because they're doing this now. Like we don't have in-person presentations like we used to with Steve Jobs, but I think Tim Cook has killed it in his era with these insanely high quality, well-produced product launches. But okay, another day for that. But yeah, we spoke about this then, and that was, I think, the 1.5 year point of me using the iPad Pro as my main computer. And genuinely, like I sail ships for a living. I'm not somebody who lives on land. And genuinely, as a seafarer, the iPad is the device to get. And I still tell everyone on board, like you want to travel light, you want to pack light. We don't need to use computers on ships because we have like inbuilt servers and systems and all the tech is put together on board a ship for us. So these devices essentially become your creativity, productivity, personal, or even like your entertainment devices more than anything else. Like, you don't want to carry a speaker, you carry the iPad. You have an insane screen on it. You have a magic keyboard. You can get Microsoft Word if you want to type out, like, do a presentation or send an email or reply to some boring stuff, do basic everyday mundane tasks. It's great for all of that as well. So on all those fronts, I was super happy with the iPad. But the one thing that I think the iPad always lacked more than anything else was that extra creativity boost for video editors. It's great for music production. It's been awesome for the last so many years. And it's also been great for graphic designers. It's obviously amazing for artists, like with the Apple Pencil. It's awesome. And I couldn't even do shit like with my Apple Pencil. Like, my Apple Pencil was my stylus and I would use it to scroll through my timeline. And yeah, the iPad always like lacked or was a step behind the Max when it came down to video editing.
And it looks very good on the top of your device.
Oh yeah, for sure. Look at you flexing right now, right? Like,
Yeah, just if you got it, you flaunt it, right? So.
For sure. So yeah, then we had LumaFusion for a while, which is a great video editing platform for mobile editors and stuff like that. But then, it wasn't what you wanted. It still lagged behind, right? And then Final Cut drops, and Final Cut has been great. It was built from the ground up for the iPads, and it was so good, but it throttled. There were times when I opened up Final Cut Pro and I had like a 15-18 minute project on there, and I'm like choosing the project that I want to edit with the touchscreen, and it just won't load the project, and I'm just like M2 chip on the inside.
And wasn't Final Cut Pro sort of handicapped on the older, weaker iPads? Like I think the M1, M2 had all of the features back then, but if you went A12Z or A14, you would feel that sort of. Yeah, so that's where I felt like.
So wait, if I'm not wrong, and I might be wrong, I think Final Cut for the iPad is only available on the M series chips.
M series, yeah. Now that I look at it, I think, yeah.
DaVinci Resolve is available on every iPad, including the iPad Mini, but you can only edit in 1080p on that.
As an editor, do you think that DaVinci Resolve is getting less credit than everything that Apple is doing with Final Cut Pro?
Honestly, no, I don't. As an editor, I genuinely believe that DaVinci is getting more of the credit that it deserves now over the last 2 years. Because if you see any of the mega YouTubers have shifted to Resolve for color corrections, and they were always using Resolve as an extra layer above Final Cut or above Premiere Pro to color correct their videos and to do their final grades and final exports. But like, since Resolve has gotten so good, a lot of them have just jumped ship from Premiere, which is just buggy at this point, and Final Cut, which is slowed down a lot. Even on a Mac, Final Cut is a bit slower for certain tasks or a bit more inconvenient for certain tasks than DaVinci is. So yeah, DaVinci is blown up. And I think even if you're looking at it from the iPad perspective, which is where we started this conversation from, DaVinci Resolve on the iPad is more pro than Final Cut Pro on the iPad as of this moment, as of when we're recording this video. I don't know how much is going to change with the version 2 of Final Cut that is expected to drop sometime in the month of July, if I'm not wrong. But DaVinci has it all.
Yeah, it's also maybe the time in the market. Maybe DaVinci has been around a little bit longer on the iPad. I mean, on a portable, on a touchscreen device. So they have figured a few things out better than what Apple might. But like we all love to believe as Apple sheep that Apple ends up doing things better than its competition just because it waits it out and it holds off and
the
it does things
frustrating. The wait is just frustrating at sometimes, right? Like, dude, I waited for Final Cut for so long.
Good things take time.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all I'll say.
But also, when we're talking about like DaVinci being slightly better currently, and that's because it's been around for longer, it's also because DaVinci essentially is available to every iPad on the market. So DaVinci gives more video editors access to a lot of their pro features, and basically that's that. Like, if you have an iPad Mini, you can essentially edit in DaVinci on 1080p. You can't do a 4K edit, but you can do a 1080p edit. And what else do you need in life? Like,
it's pretty good.
You can,
and there is and there is also sort of Apple paywall, which DaVinci has a little bit of. They are a little bit kinder in that sense, where there are like a bunch of features available without you having to pay for a monthly or a yearly subscription. But you can choose to go the pro route and get everything under the sun to work in DaVinci. Sure. After sandbagging us for years into buying the Apple Pencil and saying it'll work on your iPad Air, it'll work on your Mini, it'll work on your Pro, they just abandoned the previous year Pro by introducing a new Apple Pencil just because they say that we have moved the orientation of the camera to landscape, and
the camera should have been landscape from the beginning, guys. Like, come on. I am the biggest Apple fanboy I know, and I still believe, like, dude, that was a really bad decision. I don't know what they were doing. I don't, it's just some things make no sense, and especially with the Apple Pencil.
And at least if you were going to alienate any user in your lineup, it shouldn't have been the the previous iPad Pro users, it might sound a little bit like elitist, but the Air and the Mini were already getting a lot more features out of previous year iPads than the iPad Pro was getting, because the iPad Pro had the burden of innovating.
Yeah.
So at least when you've innovated at a certain stage and you are trying to like move to the next level, at least don't leave the people behind who have recently purchased these Pros. Now, you might argue that the Apple Pencil does everything it should already.
It does.
Just not having the Pro makes me salty.
It does. And I think it's not only you. So like, I believe in India specifically, which is the demographic that I normally cater to creatively. There's a lot of people who, when they look at getting the iPad Pro, they have two perspectives of it, right? A, there'll be one set of people who won't get it because it's the Pro, because it's the latest and greatest that Apple makes. And that is the bigger demographic. Like, that's for sure. And this is the people who have the money to do what we're talking about. Like, not everyone can go out and spend 2 lakh rupees on a tablet, or like $2,000, $3,000 on a tablet. It's not everyone who wants to do this. So this is one demographic, the super rich kids who want the best of the best and they want to go to school or university and pull out their iPad Pro, the magic keyboard, go like, bro, like, you guys are using laptops, or are so old school. Like, I'm using this. It's so much better. It floats. Yeah, it works. Yes. And it's a fact. And there are people like that. And then there's another demographic. The other demographic is people who actually use these devices. And that's a really tiny demographic. But that is the demographic that's going to keep coming back. So, because tomorrow, if Apple makes a touchscreen MacBook Pro, the kids who went out and bought the iPad Pro just to show off for their friends because they had the money will go for the brand new, first in line, first in class touchscreen MacBook Pro, because it's new, right? It's the new flashy product. They're going to ditch the iPad, but it's the original iPad Pro user that is not going to ditch the iPad in the next generation if you just keep catering to them, because they're the ones who really make full use of the device and make full use of everything that people don't even understand exists within the device. You know, there's an M4 chip in an iPad today. You know how big that is? There is not one computer on the market that has a chip as efficient as that. I feel really sorry saying this for Microsoft right now, because like, true, there's an M4 chip on an iPad, and who's going to take advantage of it?
Put it in the most easiest way for everybody to understand. Hardware has limitations, right? Hardware has limitations. Like if I try to fit a jet engine in a car, that doesn't mean the tires are going to keep up, right? The tires are going to keep up. The materials are going to keep up to the jet engine, right? A jet engine is supposed to be in a jet. The size matters, the construction matters, the materials matter. So if you made something so thin, put an M4 in it, and you're expecting it to do things that a Mac Pro would do, or a iMac would do, or a MacBook Pro would do, then friend, you do not understand. Like, I tell people this, you don't understand basic thermals, basic materials. I know there are engineers who know more than me, but there are certain things that just experience has taught us.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the same reason why the Fast and Furious movies don't run anymore. Vin Diesel packed way too much shit in his car at one time for it to be believable. And this was way back in Fast and Furious 5. They still kept going. And that's exactly what the state of the world is, right? Like, you will believe what is being sold to you. And yeah, the iPad Pro is a brilliant device with an M4 chip, and it's efficient. And I think the fact that they put an M4 other than an M3 into this is not for the increase in power. It is for the increase in efficiency. Because that, with the new redesign at the back on the Apple logo and the new graphite materials that they've added at the back of the chassis of the iPad Pro, putting a more efficient chip which generates less heat and giving it better thermal management with materials that basically are better conductors of heat and that can dissipate the heat easier, putting both of that together makes the iPad Pro a much more efficient device than the previous iPad Pro. Now, does this necessarily make the iPad a supercomputer? Yeah. No. But do you want to use this device as a supercomputer? No, because you will hit a throttle point. The way I look at it is like, there's a lot of people who have asked me, like, should I get an iPad Pro? And this is supposed to be an M4 chip, and it's so much better than the M2 chip. So when you're looking at upgrades, the Mac is not as substantial as the iPad is as an upgrade today to get. And I'm just like, no. So like, when you look at the thermal efficiency that the M4 chip and the new chassis of the iPad Pro is providing you, and you look at the levels that the M4 chip in real world usage, the levels that the M4 chip can actually hit while you're editing a video on Final Cut Pro on that iPad. Take the same efficiency out of this device, right? And put it into the old iPad Pro, the M2 chip iPad Pro, the one that you're rocking right now. Your numbers, the difference in numbers is going to be a lot lesser because the M2 chip was already overpowered. It used to throttle. It never hit its peak ever on the iPad. You could never get the most out of that chip. The numbers are going to drop. So when you're looking at benchmarks, it's one thing. But when you're looking at real world use and you have a 30-minute 4K timeline with multiple streams of 4K footage and multiple audio clips and all of that stuff put in together and graphics, you're going to hit a limit. And both these devices will come to a limit and they're going to stop over there. there, and that's it. Your performance graphs are going to go down, and that's what people need to understand, right? Like, it's not about the latest device that Apple just dropped. It's about what can the device do and what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely. And I think there's a segment that we're going to talk about today that we'll shed more light on that about. But moving from the iPad Pro, they also dropped new iPad Airs with the M2 chip, which you were speaking of right now being already so great.
That's an iPad Pro now, basically.
That's an iPad Pro with a 60 hertz display compared to the Pro display and whatever. Looking at the differences here, doesn't make sense for anybody who has, say, $1,000 to spend on an iPad, which is still a lot of money, I might say. Do you think that this is going to open up more iPad people to purchasing more iPads? Or
the one thing that will work, I think, here, and the one thing that most consumers, and if you're one of them who's watching the show, if you're looking at getting a new iPad, if you're looking at the iPad Air with an M2 chip, don't go for it for the M2 chip. You want to go for it for the bigger screen size, because you never got that screen size ever. You never had a 13-inch iPad unless it was a Pro. So you never got that screen size below $800 in the past, right? Apple's pricing system is made in such a way, when you get the top of the line iPad Air, right, with the max storage, you're already touching the iPad Pro on the cost levels, right?
Yeah.
So even if you did get like an iPad Pro 11-inch for $799, or like, I don't even know how much it is in India, but like, let's give it a ballpark figure and say 90,000 rupees in the past. That was a 128 gigabyte device, and nobody wanted to go for that for the same reason that they would go like, no, but then I need a little bit more than 128, because like most people's phones have more than 128 nowadays. And then you went to the iPad Air, but then the iPad Air didn't give you the same screen size. So that was a bigger issue. So if you're doing the iPad Air, you want to do it for the screen size. I wouldn't do it for the M2 chip, because you could get a laptop, a MacBook with an M2 chip. You can get a MacBook Air with an M2 chip, and it slaps. Definitely a thicker chassis. It's more thermally efficient. So you don't do it for the performance. You do it for the screen size, for the device, for the experience. It will definitely drive up sales, and I think that 13-inch iPad Air is the game-changing device in the entire iPad event for me. And if they dropped an iPad mini, that would be the best iPad for everyone to go for. But they didn't.
That's the
they didn't, right?
That's
I know. Yeah, give me an iPad Pro in that tiny 7-inch display or 8-inch display. I don't even know how much it is. That is the sauce, right? But yeah, no. So iPad sales, I don't know if they're going to go up necessarily. Definitely not in markets like India, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the US, maybe, because we have a lot of diehard Apple fans there too. We have a lot of people who genuinely do work off of an iPad in the US and in Europe and South Africa and a lot of these countries. They do, because if your basic task is everyday admin related stuff, the iPad Pros are great. And if you've been on, not a lot of people do their yearly upgrades for their iPad Pro. So there's a lot of people working on an iPad Pro with a Magic Keyboard, but they may be on the A12Z chip, or they may be on the M1. They're not necessarily on the M2. So if you're jumping from there, yeah, iPad Pro sales will go up a bit. But no, it's not enough for the iPad to become the hottest selling Apple device and outdo the Macs. I don't believe that's going to happen whatsoever. Definitely not.
And I totally agree. I think sometimes there is marketing just takes a backseat when it comes to affordability and use case.
Yeah.
Although the smaller iPad minis were more useful as either teaching aids or for students or for just people who want to consume media. I know it replaced the Kindle for a lot of individuals as a reading device. It replaced a lot of gaming devices for people who wanted to play something as simple as Hearthstone or something on the Arches device, just like chill, Clash of Clans. So yeah,
Cozy Grove, bro. Apple Arcade. Cozy Grove. That game has sold, right? Like
Cozy Gaming. Cozy Gaming is a whole different topic.
Yeah. Oh my god, like. Read a book, and then when you're done reading, drop in a game 20 minutes into the iPad. Same device to do it all. Oh my god,
read a book, put ambient music in the background so that it adds to the whole experience of reading the book. And
play some lo-fi.
Yeah, just play some lo-fi. That's just me going into a very different territory. Moving on. Coming from iPad.
Before we move out of the iPad segment, we have to do a quick rundown of everything that Apple actually announced and what it actually meant to people, right? Like for the iPad Pros. So like when Apple came out and started flashing a lot of talk about AI on stage and saying that this is the most powerful chip for AI, which is the M4 chip. Guys, if you're looking at buying an iPad Pro, genuinely, this is not your generative AI that Google and Microsoft and ChatGPT or any of these other generative AI brands out there are actually giving you. It's not the same. There's always been AI in Apple devices since day one, and Apple doesn't use the word AI specifically. They're forced to use this word now because The latest news on the internet has been that Apple is falling short in the AI race, but it's not true. Apple has always had neural engines. A neural engine is basically, it's got a brain of its own, right? It's running computations, it's running algorithms behind your CPU, behind your GPU. It's understanding how you work, it's understanding your trends, it's understanding what you need to do. That is essentially generative AI, but in a hardware format. All that photo processing. Yeah,
all that photo
absolutely.
trickery you see, all that bokeh,
Yeah.
all that beautiful, smooth edges,
Continuity camera.
continuity camera.
Exactly. This is all your neural engine giving your iPhone the brains to do things, right? So that is a kind of AI. There's different types of AI in the world. So if you're going to go out and buy the iPad and go like, this is what I want to run Copilot on, or this is what I want to run ChatGPT on, it's going to make no difference to you in your daily life because it's not generative AI that's collaborated with Apple through the software. And you need your software to work really, really well for that. And you have dedicated devices for that as well, right? Don't fall for the marketing. If you're an artist and you need the best glass piece infused into metal and the best screen to actually write on or draw on or do stuff on, yes, iPad Pro, that's the way to go. You need the most powerful tablet in the world, iPad Pro, for artists.
For artists, true.
For artists, right?
True.
If you're somebody who does basic everyday tasks and you need to do admin-related work, don't do the iPad Pro. Do the iPad Air. It'll get you through everything you need to do, and it's cheaper when it comes down to when it comes down to getting your admin-related work done. Photo editors, well, you guys are a whole different world.
Whole different breed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like there's no doubt that the iPad Pro is amazing for photo editing, but then you're paying for the experience because you can do the exact same thing on an iPad Air with an M2 chip. The M2 chip can eat through your photographs. Right?
That's true. And if I'm not a photo editor, I don't understand coloring, grading, whatever. But if I were to do work on any sort of photo editing, I would do it on an Apple device. And case in point, if you ever think that this guy has to be fact checked, go to your closest electronics retailer, just go to the Apple section and just lay your eyes on an Apple Magic Display, and then come back and hit me in the session in the comment section. Just look at the Apple Magic Display, the Display XDR, and come back and let me know if I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
They've lost
also the color,
everything out of the world.
Yeah, like the color tuning on Apple devices, Apple screens, they're tuned so well. So so coming back to like screens, the iPad Pro is a great screen and it's tailored to a very niche audience. So you don't want to blow your money. There's a lot of amazing words used in these Apple events, but you do not need to pay attention to those words, right? Like that's marketing, and marketing is great, and marketing is for people like him and me, for us to go crazy about, but it's not for the regular average consumer. Marketing is what makes us start a podcast so that we can talk about those things and explain this to you, right? It gives us the flexibility to do these things.
And the other thing is that marketing even sometimes doesn't get to us as well, because we have Apple products, so we are not frugal for sure, but we still think our purchases through. Marketing is for people who have let's not show all our cards in the first game. So that's like, they let them figure that out for themselves.
Yeah.
but we also, like, even though like we thought it through that, okay, this iPad looks good, we should get it, we still went different ways in terms of how we spent our money. And
I came back to the MacBook after 2 years. It's been 2 years of I had to figure my way around Mac OS again because things have changed. I miss Ventura completely. And now I'm on Sonoma, and I don't even know what was before Ventura. What was before Ventura? I've forgotten.
See, like Microsoft, I don't remember anything before XP and after XP, because XP
was amazing.
Was the GOAT. So for me, like, Ventura was the GOAT, and I don't want to remember anything before. Unlike Microsoft, macOS has just gotten better after Ventura even. So
I'm sure
that what they have in store for WWDC will also be something that will be exciting to watch.
I think it's going to be more performance upgrades than anything else.
I think WWDC deserves its own space. So we will be coming back for WWDC for probably an entire podcast dedicated to the biggest celebration for developers in the Apple calendar, at least. So.
Yeah, for sure. I think Dub is going to be massive because we've just had the Google AI event, and we've also just done the Microsoft Copilot event with the new Surface line, which is a lot to talk about there as well. upcoming episodes. Stay tuned
Yeah.
for that. So there's a lot of talk that has happened about AI in the last few weeks, and there's also a lot of talk about AI at Dub, which we're going to get into. It's going to be a segment in this podcast as well. We're going to talk about what we know, what we've heard, and what you should probably not hold your breath for as well. So all of that. We're going to do an entire podcast episode dedicated to Dub. We're going to break down and like run through what people really should give a shit about and what people shouldn't give a shit about and what nerds will give a shit about. And we're going to do all of that, make it easier because these events are so massive. 10 years ago, Steve Jobs would come on stage and you had like just Steve Jobs, and he was such a good presenter, right? Like he would come on stage and simplify like the iPhone launch event, a communicator, a mobile device, like the way an iPod, like the way he did that, he simplified the iPhone, but like there was so much tech built into the iPhone that he didn't talk about. Whereas most of your modern day events have words like
spec heavy.
Yeah, spec heavy. They have graphs, and then they have RAM, and then they have neural engine, they have computational photography, they have algorithms, they have 40 trillion microprocessing units at one time and different algorithms, and nobody understands anything. Everyone's like, and it looks cool because like everyone shoots it really well, right? So that's exactly why we need to cover these events for you guys, and that's where we're going to help you understand what was actually said on that stage, and that's going to be a weekly tech fix.
I think the crown jewel of all Steve Jobs moments was when he pulls the MacBook Air out of that folder.
Oh my god, yeah, dude, that was
like. Can you like? I know. Stuff took time to figure itself out from then, but just that is something somebody would do rather than somebody taking their Apple Watch Ultra to the Himalayas, where you know that stuff like this fails. No matter how good your device is, at that altitude, at that temperature, at that pressure, stuff fails, right?
Yeah.
So,
batteries die in the cold, bro.
The common man is not going to do such things, but a common man probably would carry his MacBook Air in a folder. I don't know. Maybe
because it's the thinnest notebook in the world. Like it can go into an envelope, right?
Flex.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, like okay. So wait, talking about really gorgeous looking MacBooks. 9to5 Mac recently had an article up where they spoke about a foldable MacBook that is expected. I don't even know when it's expected. I think 2026, if I'm not wrong. But like, there's a foldable MacBook that's expected to come, and there's actually legitimate conversations being had in the hardware world right now, where Ross Young, who's a display analyst who's really good, he's a display analyst and an expert in Minchinko, who's one of the biggest Apple leakers and analysts in the world, have actually been talking about the size of the foldable display, which just went down from 20 inches to like 18 inches, right?
Oh my
if
God,
I'm not wrong.
that's going to be, that's going to be
I may have this completely wrong. But yeah, imagine a foldable MacBook. And like, genuinely, what's your take on a foldable MacBook?
So
I haven't seen like an iPhone Fold yet. So I'm not like, I'm on the fence, dude.
I'm on the fence too, for the simple reason is all the foldable displays have come a very long way. Like I said, if you're a very detail oriented person, or if you're somebody who looks for flaws in everything, the crease just puts. I'm talking about myself, yeah. The crease just puts me off, man. The crease.
I'm with you, dude.
Bro, I'm not going to go out and spend like $4,000 on a MacBook, because that's what it's going to cost. Because what Apple is going to do is they're going to say this is the thinnest, lightest, most bendable, most malleable, most I don't know. You can throw it on the wall and will stick screen in the world.
I would pay for that.
And when they close it and it freezes, I'm sorry, I'm being crude, but when it just freezes, my heart is going to just drop, and I'm going to be like, really?
My display is bent.
And the other part is
and the dust that gets in,
and not just between the screen. I'm talking about the mechanism, the whole chassis that will be built. Because I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people bought the Samsung Fold series, the Samsung Galaxy Fold series. One of the major complaints they had when you fold the fold, there is a bit of a gap. Like a small gap here, and the chassis here.
Yeah. So the hinge is basically like a prismatic hinge, if I'm not wrong, or is it like triangular? It used to be something like that.
I don't know what it's called, but now I think they, after the OnePlus Open came out and all of that, and Xiaomi, the Xiaomi Mix.
Okay.
I implore anybody who's looking at foldable phones as an option. I'm not a biggest fan of Xiaomi or the whole or their whole data sharing initiative with with the government of China or anything of that sort. But just hardware, just see Huawei, Xiaomi from a hardware perspective, they are killing it. Even design wise, they're killing it. The Mix is the thinnest foldable phone. It is flat. The crease is minimal, and it looks like it can actually do what it's supposed to do in terms of being a foldable device. So if Apple cracks something in that aspect, where they make it thin, foldable, the crease is minimal. There's at least a level of entry where it is below sub $3,000 or
$4,000 starting.
Yeah, it's sub something like that. Then it might become.
Bro, I'm telling you, they're gonna drop some Vision Pro connection to this in the next 1 year. You're gonna hear leaks about it. How it works really well with the Vision Pro, because like they're gonna have the headset and they're gonna have like a foldable display that can be anything you want when you're in Vision OS, and it's gonna cost you $4,000 starting. You take it from me in writing. Like this is my prediction on this. But coming back to like what you were saying,
the Vision Pro. Now that you bought the Vision Pro out, it's one of the least exciting things for an Apple enthusiast or a person who has followed Apple through his life is the Vision Pro. From the simple perspective that for something to be extremely easily acquirable in the market or to be found, a lot of people, for a lot of people to buy, the barrier of price is one thing, but just how stupid you look wearing the thing in public. People thought the Google glasses were silly because of that.
they was
the dual lens thing. They were sweet.
Yeah.
But the Vision Pro, for all the tech that it packs, all the nausea that it'll induce, and all the holes that it'll burn into your wallet, it didn't make sense. Like, I understand the early adopters, I understand how the whole product life cycle works, but this hit.
So the thing is, we've clearly sidetracked from the foldable Mac.
Foldable Mac. Yeah.
Coming back to the Vision Pro, let's wrap up on that. The way I look at the Vision Pro is great device, prototype, and terrible marketing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm in India, you're in Canada right now. You probably can go to an Apple store and get a demo for yourself and experience Vision OS.
I can't.
And even you can't.
I can't.
So
that's what I said. Apple thought that the only country that will be you can get it from the US here, and they sell it for 8,000 Canadian dollars or 6,000 Canadian dollars.
That's insane.
When it costs $3,500 US dollars or something, I don't know, it costs something absurd. Apple thought that this would only succeed because in the US, or I think a few other markets, is because people can go ahead and throw that much money away. Whereas
so the thing is, I would actually buy it.
If it was cheap.
That's my take on it. Like, I wouldn't. Of course, if it was cheaper, I think I and a lot of other people would buy it. But the thing is, I'm gonna go on to say terrible marketing, and that's the key factor for the Vision Pro here, is because India is now producing a very substantial amount of Apple hardware.
Yes.
Apple came to India 2 years ago, dropped their Asian flagship store now in India is one of the biggest Apple stores in Asia, right? In Mumbai.
It is.
Beautiful store.
Mumbai.
Yeah, I was lucky. I was there that day. I saw Tim Cook and all of that. Like, dream come true for an Apple fan. We don't have Vision Pro in India. This country makes the products. They assemble iPhones today for Apple, and the demographic and the infra and everything is growing massively. We can't experience Vision Pro. So when I say I would buy it, it's basically because I am an early adopter for a lot of Apple products specifically. I wouldn't say tech, I would say Apple products. Then again, terrible marketing and prototype come together in this situation for me because it literally feels like a prototype. By the time Apple drops version 2 of the Vision Pro and makes it accessible and cheaper to other markets in the world, I would have never experienced Vision OS for an entire year and a half. We're already getting Vision OS 2 next week.
At WW. Yeah, that's true. But in terms of come around, circling back to the foldable MacBooks, for me, I'm okay with. I don't know about you, but I enjoy keyboards a lot more, and I want Apple to integrate keyboards like a physical keyboard into their foldable design. I think there is a ThinkPad, or I think it's a ThinkPad which has a foldable display, with a
Yeah,
hardware keyboard. You can
I think I've
and
seen
you can
this.
you can stand it up.
Yeah, yeah.
You can stand it up this way with the
You
keyboard
can
in front of it,
exactly. Yeah, I've
and
seen this. It looks really cool.
looks
I didn't deep dive into it, but yeah, for sure.
looks insane.
I get how there's a lot of people in the world who would, at any given point in time, prefer like a keyboard and mouse, right? Like
Yeah,
that
like a
is,
trackpad. Yeah,
yeah, or a trackpad. That is how people primarily have learned to work on computers. Now, there's definitely a whole new conversation here that can be had for Gen Z, who is grown up with touchscreens, and they might be able to adopt to this. We really don't know. But I think the key factor here is going to be the implementation, like you said. Really bad hinge is going to ruin the product for a lot of people. A magic keyboard, as beautiful as it made the iPad look, functionally it was terrible. Something like that is also going to ruin the experience for a lot of people, right? It looks
true.
amazing. It was a brilliant keyboard, super tactile, great scissor switches, scissor and butterfly mechanism put together, phenomenal.
Love.
Great design, terrible materials though, horrible weight distribution, and the iPad on it would float and float to the point that it fell off
It
at
fell
certain
off.
angles, right? Like it toppled over. Things like that will break this device for me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for a lot of nerds, I think tech nerds out
That's
there. Yeah, so like it totally depends on how they do this, but like I also hope that they do the iPhone Fold before they do the foldable Mac because they're going to get to learn a lot from there.
and the form factor is a little bit smaller, so you
Yeah,
can make all your mistakes in something that fits in your hand, and
and
it's not even a
other
mistake.
companies, yeah, other companies have done it, so you can learn from their mistakes, incorporate your innovation into the iPhone, which is smaller and easier to probably build because like that technology and that hardware and that molding system is actually out there at the moment. And you can take the best of all the hinges, experiment there, and then blow it up. And then maybe start with the foldable iPad as well. Like that's already a screen.
I was
So,
already about to say there's already a candidate for a great foldable display, which is the iPad. And now that
yep,
it is, and now that you have touched the 13-inch threshold, and there are rumors that you might touch the 15-inch threshold in the coming years for an iPad, I would
fold
say
one of
that
them.
yeah, just fold one of them.
Just fold one of them.
Apple would not never is too far fetched, but Apple would never alienate its iPad users by creating a foldable iPhone because, like, a lot of people don't agree with this, but I thoroughly believe it. An iPad is just an oversized iPhone, unless they do something different with the OS. It's just
Okay.
like the
Okay, you got me. So
yeah.
if you'd stopped at an iPad is just a bigger iPhone,
Yeah.
I would have had to like say something and like come back at you because it's
No,
not.
it's not. Yeah, but just the
But
operating
yes,
system,
the OS, iPad OS
close.
is a chunkier version than iOS. And when I
It's
say
close.
chunky, you can add clunky. So it's a clunky version of iOS because it's just not great. I think they need to redo iPad OS a little bit. Like
They do.
there are
They do.
so
And
many ways to multitask. It's confusing for the average consumer, guys. Like you have split view, you have slide over, you have stage manager. What do you use? Nobody knows. Build
average.
a
So
straight, nice, easy way to multitask on that damn device. It's a
I,
massive device. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of agree with you. They might not do a foldable iPhone though, right? That might definitely eat sales for the iPad. Yeah, I mean, consider
already
this.
already
You get
dwindling sales of the iPad. So
agreed. Consider this. You get two iPhone 15 Pro Maxes. Put them together. That's an iPad Mini right there.
yeah, yeah,
I think in practicality it could rival the iPad Mini.
yeah. Okay. Anyways,
All
moving
right.
on.
So foldable MacBook is
People are not
no.
here for us to be for us to know these things, right? They're here to
Yeah.
understand the nuances of things that they don't usually get through these websites.
Agreed.
Anyways,
So
talking about the
WWDC.
OS, yeah,
WWDC is around the corner, boy. I am
yeah,
super
it
hyped for this
is.
event, man. Like
I
this
am,
is
I am
literally the
too.
highlight of next week for me. So like I am super pumped that we have brand new operating systems dropping in the next few weeks, maybe few days. You're gonna have beta 1 out immediately after DubDub, within a week after DubDub. So like iOS 18, iPad OS 18, the new Mac OS, new Watch OS, new Vision OS, which none of us are gonna get to experience. All of this is coming out next week, and yeah, I'm hyped, man. Like every year until this year, I used to go to WWDC super hyped about iPad OS because that's the device I was using to work from. This year I couldn't care less. I'm
Yep.
hyped for iOS because that's the device I use more than the iPad now.
More than the
Mac
iPad.
OS is, I think Mac OS Sonoma was already so good. Like it's really nice. Whatever I've seen of it in the last 10 days of me owning or 15 days of me owning a new Mac. Yeah, it's great. It's really powerful. There are nuances, obviously, but I think there's going to be just smaller refinements onto Mac OS this year. There's not going to be a ton of new mega upgrades that are going to come that way. But iOS 18 has been making the rounds on the internet with all the leaks and rumors. A lot
Um,
of AI.
just gonna jump right into it and ask you, what is your favorite aspect of iOS 18? Because I have this aspect of iOS 18 which I'm really excited about, but I would like to hear your perspective first. What is something that
So
you are super excited about?
I have two things that I've been really hyped about with iOS 18. It's definitely not Siri. Like I
Siri
know Siri
2.0?
2.0, Siri 2.0 is going to be great compared to the current Siri, but knowing Apple and knowing privacy and how seriously they take privacy, considering the fact that they're going to have to do a lot of work to make Siri improve, and they're going to need like to have it on device, and there's a lot of nuances behind that. I'm not convinced Siri is going to be as good as what Google Assistant is still, right? She's not the best assistant and she's not going to be as good. So it's not Siri, and the internet's blowing up about that right now. I think for me, one of the main things is definitely a redesign that has been
Okay.
rumored to the control center as well as to the settings app. They're going to make it a lot more transparent. I think so. iOS has reached a point, at least with the Pro devices, if you're talking about the iPhone 15 Pros or the 14 Pros or the 13 Pros, any device that has a ProMotion screen where it's super fluid. The operating system is nice. It's clean. It's very fluid. It's very user friendly. Anyone can pick up an iPhone and start using it, provided they've not used an Android and got accustomed to an Android before, right? And it's vice versa. So it's super
Mhm.
easy. But the refinements to iOS is integration, and the way you view the device, the way you view the software, the way you interact with it, they come super rarely. And they're normally these design refreshes once every 4 years or 5 years, right? So I'm really excited about the redesign. I think that's going to be one thing that is awesome. There's rumored themes on the iPhone, which is something that Android has had forever. And if I could, like, I know you can kind of do that with shortcuts, right? You can
It's
change your
it's
icons and stuff, but
it's too much
it's
work.
painful. It's
It's too much
painful.
work.
Secondly, shortcuts, as good as they are, the launching of the apps isn't as seamless as it is. Like you're
See,
gonna get the shortcut. You see the shortcut launching, which is just not the same experience for me. I've gone all out with my iPhone on an all black theme before, but it just didn't feel right.
that's
So
true.
yeah, I would appreciate new themes. I would appreciate a new way to interact with iOS, even if it's just a visual change, because I know that's going to stick with me for the next 5 years, and I would pick a change over what we have currently. So that's one, which I absolutely love. And number two is eye control. There's supposed to be eye tracking coming to
I
iPhones and
heard.
iPad,
I heard,
right?
and
And
that blew
and
my
that is
mind.
something I know. And that's something they're picking from Vision OS, right? But apparently, they're going to use your front facing camera for you to be able to actually interact with your apps just like you do in Vision OS. And you're going to be able to do things inside of the apps with your eyes. And you're not going to have to do this. Like the hand gestures are not going to be required. You can just blink. So technically,
Blink.
this is an accessibility setting.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure it's going to be embedded inside the accessibility features, and you're going to have to like turn it on, and it's going to be hard, and it's going to help people that it's meant to help for sure. But yeah, I think that's going to be a great experience because with wearables coming out and with new AR VR goggles coming out and all of this stuff, and Meta and Apple and the whole battle for like augmented reality, one of the ways you interact is with your eyes now, and obviously everyone's going to start adopting it because now that we have it on Vision OS, for the average consumer who already has an iPhone 15 or an iPhone 14 to be able to experience that on their device natively will give them a feel of what the future could be, because we know a lot of these companies are throwing like the virtual world in our faces and saying this is it, this is the future of computation. So uh, I think I just the experience, it would be great, and making it accessible to most people. I think that is something I'm really excited about.
I totally agree that the redesign and the eye tracking are super exciting. The eye tracking still, to a certain extent, a lot of people would question
Yeah,
how well privacy is, put into consideration there, because like when we were talking about a few days ago, when we were talking about the Microsoft Rewind feature, where you can where
yeah,
you all your on-screen work is being recorded in the background by Microsoft, or
Yeah.
for your good, for the greater good, and then you can rewind if in case something goes wrong. The
Yeah.
eye tracking thing also has to be dealt with a certain level of you know
Absolutely.
cer- certain level of
Absolutely.
finesse in terms of it's no secret that you are being tracked, even if privacy is something that is put in the forefront. Things are recorded, they are placed on devices are easily accessible, hackable, etc., etc. Whatever you want to do. I don't want to wear the
For sure.
tinfoil hat right now, but
Yeah.
it can access could be received. So I agree, but um, I totally agree that these two things would be totally blowing
Yeah.
the competition out of the water. Probably if the redesign works out great, because I know Google is
Yeah.
doing some great things with design and
Bro, Google
functionality.
is killing it. Oh yeah, for sure. Okay.
I'm going to go into the green bubble, blue bubble camp, and
Ooh, RCS support. Are we talking RCS? I forgot about RCS. They rumored this so long ago.
so
I
long
forgot
ago,
it's coming. Like
and
this was out
I'm
in
so glad.
2023.
I'm so
I'm
glad they're
glad
going to
to.
put.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're going to be on the same standard of RCS.
Yeah.
The only thing that I still feel is sort of sort of Apple being a little bit like, oh, it's still RCS. Oh, the platform is the same, but you're still going to be green bubble because Google
Yeah.
apparently went ahead and did an end-to-end encryption for all their RCS channels that you're going to be using in order to communicate, while
Okay.
not sharing the same sort of technology with Apple. I'm sure that Apple has a way of acquiring that sort of encryption, but
Mhm.
yeah, Google for now is the only one who has that that level of security,
So
for the
that's the
lack of a
thing,
better
right?
word.
Like I agree with what you're saying. Apple could acquire the technology, but the thing is, even with RCS, right? I think one of the biggest Android using countries in the world is India
Yeah,
because of the population. Nobody uses RCS. Nobody uses regular text messaging. It's not a thing.
yeah,
People use WhatsApp. So
yeah,
even
but
if Google went and pulled off something and said like, okay, we're not going to give you this tech. We're not going to let you run the same encryption model that we are running, and like Apple has to figure shit out of their own. It's not going to be as popular as iMessage because
yeah,
iMessage has its audience, and that audience is not switching out of it anytime soon because it's just you don't need another texting app, right? When you have iMessage, it is your home-based messaging app, and I love that. And I hate that a lot of people in India don't use iMessage despite that they have iPhones. They're still stuck to WhatsApp. Like for me, I'm happier using iMessage. It's so much cleaner and privacy focused, and there's a lot of other perks. Another day for that. But
another day for that. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
but I
agreed.
would
Yeah,
say, but I would say, but I
and
would say that the fact that everything is on one, every all the two major messaging aspects of both platforms would be on one singular base, which is
yeah,
RCS, could be exciting, but also like you mentioned, like
it's
if I
not
think about
popular.
it, it's not popular. Like the 12-year me in 2024 would
Yeah,
totally want to be on the same
yeah,
platform as a friend who had an iPhone while I had an
yeah,
Android, just so that
yeah.
the green bubble blue bubble conversation would still happen, but it would not be that bad because it would not show up as an
It won't.
SMS.
Agreed, agreed. For sure. I think for younger crowd, it'll make a ton of difference. But then again,
Yes.
it'll make a ton of difference in the US.
Yeah. The texting is very,
Mm,
very, very popular. Even here in Canada,
Where,
a lot of
yeah,
lot of people, even in their voicemail say that you could get to me quicker if you just text me. Nobody says if you iMessage me or WhatsApp me or
text.
Telegram me, or they say you
No,
text
so
me because
I think texting is equally popular in a lot of other countries. But when I said I mean by the US or Canada, for example, you guys are literally using your standard messaging, the inbuilt iMessage app, right? Like you're not using a special dedicated WhatsApp platform, another
yeah,
app. So yeah, it is going to be a lot more useful there for younger kids. But then the rest of the world where people don't use iMessage, nobody's going to give a shit.
true,
Google
true.
did all of this hoo-ha and the European Union started crying about iMessage and everyone went at Apple and were like, no, man, you have to support RCS. And Apple was forced into doing this. They never cared. It's also pretty shitty that they didn't, but okay, irrespective. Bottom line is, it's not going to be as impactful as people actually believe or as we tech nerds believe. Yes, we're fighting for having the same platform, right? We're fighting for having the
Yeah,
same base. And
Yeah.
we don't want the blue bubble, green bubble rubbish that happens. But then that only happens in select 3 or 4 or maybe 6 countries in the whole world. And that's going to reduce now. So 10 points to them for doing that. But is it really that exciting for the rest of the world? Which is what, at the end of the day, Google and Apple are trying to conquer with their products?
Products. Correct.
No, I don't believe. I don't believe it's going to make any difference in India. People in India don't know what RCS is. Google Pixel users in India do not know what RCS is. It's also kind of Google's fault. Anyways, I think it's a
I'm
mix.
excited. I'm excited about the RCS feature, and something also that is also pretty much back end is the new emojis that are going to come out, a new emoji standard that's going to come out, and how Apple
Yeah,
is going to integrate that into all our messaging, the keyboard, as well as
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
that's going to be something that's going to be also interesting. Not spending much time on that because I'm 33 years old, and I don't use emojis as often as I would like to. So
Bro, I
for
use
people who
emojis
are,
all the time. I'm 33 as well. I don't care.
yeah, because
I can.
maybe that's just how I'm built. So I think I don't use emojis that much, but the new emojis look kind of interesting, and probably we'll cover a little bit of that in the next episode. Now,
Sure.
moving from software to
Hardware.
hardware, I know
Are we
you were
doing it?
exciting. I
Are
know
we
you were
doing it?
excited. I know you were excited about a little Sonos device that recently dropped. So
Yes. Sonos Ace. Sonos just dropped an insanely good looking pair of headphones, right?
yeah,
And like the audio world is buzzing, bro. People be
it
loving Sonos. Sonos has always had like
it look
killer
it
hardware.
the Sonos headphones look quite similar to a very of another device that came out of a very small, very small, not so famous brand out in Cupertino, and
Yeah, yeah.
it looks like something that was very very early forgotten. So,
You're talking about me, bro. You're talking
yeah,
to me.
yeah, there it is. Yeah,
Oh, I know, I know. Oh no, wait.
uh,
It's not the same. It's not the same. This is one of the few devices Apple gave color. As subtle as the color is, it's got color.
perfect
Sonos
sense.
pulled a pro. Like they pulled an Apple Pro on this. They went
Yeah,
white or black.
like
Like this is
white or
it.
black.
This is what we do.
Yeah,
You
this is
take
what
it or
we
leave
do.
it. We don't give a shit, right? Like so. That's a very typical Apple Pro move, which makes no sense. But okay, you're right. They do look like the AirPods Max. It is nuts how similar these devices are. I think more than just the AirPods Max, they've more than looking like the AirPods Max. They look like a fusion between the Sony XM.
XM5s,
What? Yeah. Okay.
XM5.
Nice. Yeah. Short form, right? So XM5s and the AirPods Max. You fuse the two together, and they have that look because the
Yeah,
headband's totally different. But then
yeah,
they've got like the magnetic ear cups, which is from the AirPods Max, which is right now still the best way to do ear cups, in my opinion. Even if the new ones
absolutely.
cost you a bomb when you go to the Apple store, it is still the best way because there are
It's
more
still
Apple
the
stores
best
than
way.
Sonos stores, by the way, in the world. So
Yeah,
it's more accessible. So yeah, these look great, and what's special about them is I think they have the same size of drivers as the AirPods Max too. They have 40 drivers,
they look
which
the same.
is they look the
They
same.
look
Yeah,
like if you put this side by side and
you won't be able to
like
differentiate if you're top
yeah,
down.
yeah,
Yeah, if they're top down, yeah, you won't be able to differentiate. They have noise cancellation. They have transparency mode. Their own version of it. It's called a WAR mode. It's supposed to be good, but like we've definitely not played around with these, so we don't have this first-hand information. So we were watching MKBHD's video a couple of days ago, you and me,
yeah.
and at that time, MKBHD said the same thing. Like transparency mode, other than AirPods, this is the best on the market, but AirPods is still king when it comes down to that. They both have Dolby Atmos support, which is great. AirPods Max as well as the Sonos, but the Sonos, when it comes to lossless audio,
Oh,
they have
yeah.
they actually have it,
They
which
actually
is
have it.
insane. So
They
the
actually
AirPods
have it.
Max kind of have it, right? Like, so you need to get that special lightning adapter, then you need to get like lossless audio on your device, and then you have to have a compatible device. And the song has to be downloaded and not streamed because you have the highest resolution when it's downloaded. So there's a whole process to go through for it. But Sonos, the moment you plug in a wire and you go into an iPhone, lossless, baby. Now and
Lossless.
so if you're an
That's
audiophile, I think Sonos is the way to go, like for sure. Like they're very close. Both of these are really close.
they're
But
really close.
but but if you're an audiophile and you're also in the Apple ecosystem,
you can share.
Yeah, I mean, Sonos has a bunch of really cool stuff happening for them. Like they have handoff with other Sonos soundbars, and Sonos equipment has always been great. Like they have great connectivity with the Apple ecosystem in general. And I think other than Sonos, there's no other brand that's as good with the Apple ecosystem, because
It's
Bose is terrible connectivity,
terrible
especially their
connectivity.
app.
Yeah.
They really need to fix their apps, man. It's been so many years.
It's the same thing that that Nokia and BlackBerry were suffering from. The quality of the device was never the issue.
Top
I keep
notch.
saying that. I keep saying that when people talk about Nokia and the old Nokia and the old BlackBerry, the
Oh yeah, for sure.
hardware was never the
Top of
issue.
the line. Yeah,
It was the
agreed.
software. It's the software that killed them, and Bose is going
Agreed.
down the same route.
Agree, dude. The Bose QC Ultras are such a gorgeous pair of headphones, and I mean, again, I have tested these at an airport at the Bose store. There was a demo version out there. It is so good. I mean, there are times when they sound slightly better, especially for acoustics, than the AirPods Max. And I love the AirPods Max. I think the
The
AirPods Max is really well balanced.
active noise
They're like,
cancelling on Bose
yeah,
headphones, the
yeah, yeah,
QC35 was
so good.
the noise cancelling on that on an airplane rivals any other, be it Sony,
Agreed,
be it
agreed,
Apple. It just does stuff so well. And then
agreed.
why do they fail in terms of sales? I don't think they fail in terms of sales. I think
Hit on.
the Apple sheep, there are the Bose sheeps. They say, okay, if I have to buy a headphone, spend X amount of money, $1,000,
Bose
I'd
sheep.
rather go buy a Bose.
I was a Bose sheep. I had
Ca-
everything from the Bose Sound Sport to the Bose Sound Link to the Bose Sound QC earbuds, QC35s, QC45s, Bose 700. The one pair of headphones that was so good that didn't sell for shit. You never saw anyone wearing them except for yourself. But they were unique, right? Bose changed the design. Such a good pair of headphones. So
Good
I had them
headphones.
all, and I love Bose. My portable speaker of choice is the Bose Flex because Apple doesn't make a speaker. Because well, that's just that. But
They do, but it needs to be plugged in all the time and have internet
yeah,
connectivity.
it's not a portable speaker.
These are Bose speaker.
It's not a portable speaker. Apple can HomePod Mini their way into any conversation, and you can open the door and say, "Hey guys, cut the wire and come back in." Like, what the hell? Is there something hanging off of your speaker right now, right? So
Yeah.
no, great devices, right? Also the Bose, but like we discussed, connectivity is terrible. And Sony's have basically captured a market that's never going to die, right? So like Sony's are, as long as they keep their consistency, which they have, they've
Yeah.
captured a market that is now fanatical about their earphones as well as headphones, and they're not going to die. Sonos has captured an equivalent market when it comes to their soundbars and smart speakers, right? They've got that. They've got that sorted. They've got their home theater system sorted. They've got the entire Sonos app where everything talks to each other. And apparently the Sonos Ace headphones have that connectivity with the soundbars, with the home theater, so you can just hand off as well. It's great. All that is great. But again, the Sonos Ace are priced above the Sony and the Boses and below the AirPods Max. And
Yeah.
Sonos connects the best with the Apple ecosystem. So when you're ready to pay for that, why won't you pay $100 more and get the
And
AirPods
very
Max, which will
nice.
give you the best? Yes, exactly. Or pay $100 less or $150 less and get the Sonys and the Bose. So they're kind of confused here.
Yeah.
So
It's
I'm not sold, yeah?
yeah, they have put themselves at a price point which didn't exist.
Yeah.
And doing that, they have also opened themselves up to a little bit of a little bit of
Confusion.
confusion amongst the consumer. But
Yeah.
like you were saying, even from a perspective of colors and build quality, I think that the AirPod Max takes the win here in a lot more
I like
boxes.
it.
It takes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, except for this stupid case.
Oh God.
Other, other than that,
Talking about stupid cases, Sonos isn't far behind because
yeah, they don't
um,
fold either.
they don't fold either. Because
No.
like you travel, I think 80% more than I do, and
Yeah.
I know you would appreciate the fact that you could fold your headset and put it in something as small and compact
Yeah.
as this. Like I'm
But
looking for.
the Beats cases, man. The
This is what I'm
new
looking for, right? This is what I'm looking for.
agreed. So the Beats
This is what I'm
cases
looking
were,
for.
especially for the new Beats Studio, so good.
This is what
So
I'm looking
good.
for, right? Check
Yeah,
this out.
for sure, bro. Like 100%.
It is, but in terms of, I know this is not something that is talked about a lot, but in terms of social equity, having AirPod Maxes on you rather than having Sonos on you, from somebody who walks around on a ship where it is like only a bunch of people and walks down the streets of Mumbai, which is one of
Yeah.
the crowded cities in the world. Uh,
Yeah.
how do you feel that the social equity of having such a product as a Sonos versus an AirPod Max would be reacted to? So, do you feel a lot of people are more attracted towards the AirPod Maxes when they see them
Yeah,
first?
definitely.
Yeah, because I feel the Sonos is for everything that it offers, unless you know what it does for you, is something that is so forgettable. Whereas
Agreed.
the AirPod Max is just, yeah, just is
No,
like a
for sure
work of
not.
art.
So the AirPods Max, agreed, 200%. What you said is actually on point and you answered your own question, right? But like,
Mm,
long story short, AirPods Max blew up on the internet, and that's Apple's marketing, right? So they've done great work with Beats. Everyone owns Beats. Every kid wants a pair of Beats because Beats are so attractive, right? AirPods Max have blown up in the market because of the redesign. Like this is something new that has never been released ever, and now Sonos has pretty much ripped that off and fused it with like two different headphones and come out with their own design. And then again, you look at a lot of celebrities, right? You look at a lot of big YouTubers. You look at MKBHD's tech backpack, and he had AirPods Max, and he said, irrespective of everything, these are still my headphones of choice in 2024. And there's a lot of people who use AirPods Max. So you see all these social media personnel. One of my favorite DJs, and I'm a big electronic music fan, right? I listen to a lot of techno. There's this DJ called Peggy Goo, who's from Korea. Peggy Goo is like the headline icon artist over there. She is one of the biggest DJs in the world, and she carries AirPods Max with her. Like that speaks
that
volumes,
speaks
right?
so well.
And
Yeah, that speaks volumes, right?
yeah, like I mean, you might be this kid who's 19 years old who's getting into techno because techno is all that plays in clubs, and that's electronic music is modern day music, and you're browsing the internet and you're on Apple Music, and like right there in the Discover page, this Peggy Goo is always vibing there, and her AirPods Max are on. So like, dude, like it's an iconic design. And that's why Sonos pretty much went the same route. So yeah, when it comes down to what you said, for sure, you have to know what Sonos does for you, what it brings to the table. Where's that sauce
Where's the sauce?
compared to the
Exactly.
Apple? Where's the sauce, right? Like they're good looking, they're fine, they have the same features, replacement earcups, all of this stuff. But
I think a 95 Mac has the whole conclusion pretty locked down. Although like I said, although Sonos might do much more things for you, have much
yeah,
better technology built in, including the lossless support,
for sure.
but just the social equity of having an AirPods Max on you
For sure.
shows
Yeah.
shows a little bit of see, a lot of people also use it as a fashion accessory. I'm not the most
It's
fashionable
a
person, but
flex.
it's a flex. It's a
It's a
flex.
flex. It's a
It's a
flex, for
flex.
sure. Get on a
But
flight with this on and get on a flight with your AirPods Pro on. While they do
yeah,
the exact same thing, there'll be 10 other kids with an AirPods Pro in their ears. There'll be only two
yeah,
kids with the AirPods
uh,
Max on the flight.
and a sorer back and a neck, which I understand the AirPod Maxes are heavy compared to
Yeah, for
any.
sure.
You'll have a sorer neck or a back, but yeah,
I feel
that's
it.
the price you pay. That's the price you
No,
pay.
so that's the thing, right? When you compare like AirPods Max with in terms of comfort, like so you come from the Bose, you can feel these on your head. But then
Yeah,
again, when you compare them to Sony's are so plastic, bro. Yeah, I mean, you
build
also like
quality. Yeah.
it. They like when you fold them down and you're putting them on your ear and your hair gets stuck in that plastic. What is it called? Like I don't even know how to say it. It's just yeah. You're wearing Beats. You know all about what I'm talking about, right? So, so like on those fronts, the AirPods Max are comfortable. I think the AirPods Max are comfortable for an hour.
Yeah.
Beyond an hour, which is where this podcast is already gone, you
Yeah.
can start to feel them on your neck and your head, and like it is what it
True.
is. But and from what I understand, these are the Sonos Ace are extremely comfortable.
They are.
They're
They are. They
super
are
light.
extremely good. They're
So
super
that's
light.
something that definitely go to them. So like, dude, like as an audio, I don't consider myself an audiophile, but I consider myself slightly above the regular audio consumer. Like it's music everywhere. Like it's just a thing. Like one of my things in life is to travel the world and listen to all kinds of music and just live that kind of life, right? So
Makes sense.
yeah, I
So
mean,
from
would I get a pair of Sonos because they have
yes,
lossless audio while
yes.
I have the
So
AirPods Max?
that was my question. In case you were to go out and spend the say, let's say you have $700, because I know 699 is where the AirPod Maxes are at. If you had
Yeah,
$700 and you just knew these two headphones on merit, and you were
yeah,
in the Apple ecosystem, I know I'm giving you all the ammunition you need to pull the trigger on the AirPod Maxes, but I'm just asking if you had this option and if you had to
Yeah,
buy one of these things,
yeah.
what would you pull the trigger on?
If I wasn't in the Apple ecosystem, I would go for Sonos. But I am
Not
in the
not
Apple ecosystem.
not even would you not even consider Bose or Sony? I'm saying anything apart from the Sonos as well, because
So,
they're not cheap even at $449, even
so there's
$100
a
less. They're
yeah,
not
there's a lot of
cheap. So
factors. There's a lot of factors we're bringing into this conversation already, right? But
mhm.
let's assume money is not a factor for me. Let's assume
Okay,
this in this conversation because we're
okay,
already talking about two of the most expensive headphones in the world, right? I mean, consumer headphones in the world. So if I wasn't in the Apple ecosystem, I wouldn't get the AirPods Max for sure.
okay.
I wouldn't.
Mhm.
As amazing as they are, do I think they're better than the Sonos because of all the connectivity that they give? Yes. Right?
Mhm.
They're iconic and they have all of that going for them. But no, I would get the Sonos because of the lossless audio feature. Because if I wasn't in the Apple ecosystem, I wouldn't be necessarily stuck to one platform of music either. I would have Tidal Hi-Fi, I would have Spotify, I would probably be in different places. So then to have a headphone that works with a wired connection gives me like pure great audio and like I can get like any music streaming service which has lossless on it. Yeah, like Sonos makes more sense to have that wired ability to give me that flexibility in life. And they've pretty much got like the comfort and everything sorted over there. So as an audio person out of the Apple ecosystem, yes, I would go for the Sonos. But you bring in that entire ecosystem, and I don't even think about anything other than Apple headphones, Apple earphones. I'm waiting for them to cut that wire off the HomePod Mini, bro. I'm that guy.
Everybody is, but
Exactly. So everybody in the Apple ecosystem will probably think the exact same way, unless you're an audiophile, which neither of us are. So that
true,
that is something you're gonna have to wait for. There's a bunch of different audiophiles on the internet, and I'm dying to see what they say about the Sonos Ace because they're still probably reviewing it. They've just come out with their videos.
true. For I would also go AirPod Maxes, but I would go AirPod Maxes when it'll be like I would want to splurge something like that. I have a pair which is now not so much in use. My wife uses it from time to time, but I'm
Okay.
usually use Beats because I listen to stuff that's a bit more bassy, and I think Beats does
Okay.
a better job at holding the bass out compared to
Yeah, for sure.
the
AirPods are
AirPod
more
Maxes.
balanced.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
more balanced.
Beats are pretty balanced too, but like they're still slightly on
No,
the
they are
on the
they are they
base
are
side.
they are punchy for bass, and that's what they sold for basically, and that's their differentiating
That's a,
factor. It's a little bit.
I think you're talking
It's
about
like
the older Beats, right? These are the old studios or the solos. What are these?
these are the old studios. These are the old
Yeah,
studios.
so the new studios are balanced as hell. Like
Okay,
new Beats are going to the AirPods audio tuning load now. So
that makes
like
sense.
yeah, it's kind of different now. But I get what you're saying, right? Like you wouldn't necessarily go for the AirPods Max
Yeah, go for
because
the
of the
AirPods Max
price.
because not just the price. It's like I was speaking to somebody very recently, and I was talking about lossless as well, and they were like, "Do you know if you use the earpods, which is the wired
Yeah,
earphone solutions for
USB.
the USB-C that is on your 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max and the 15 series,
It's a
there is
DAC.
an incredible audio DAC in there,
Yep.
which when you plug your earpods into, instantly turns it into lossless because the
Yep.
only
It's like
requirement for lossless is that it should maintain that sort of bitrate, which
yes,
is what lossless is, the highest
yes,
bitrate that you could receive.
yes.
But yeah, that gives you a lot of perspective. It's like, do you want the wireless aspect of it? Is that important, or is the sound quality important? Because any audiophile will tell you that wireless doesn't do justice to
The music.
music
Agreed.
quality. So
Agreed. So that's what I meant by when like we're not talking from an audiophile's perspective here because
yeah,
neither of us are pure audiophiles, right? Like
pure, that's true.
we may be massively into our music, and maybe like we could call ourselves music junkies. So
Junkies,
that's
yeah.
where the wireless aspect comes in. Like we can appreciate having wireless music playing devices, but an audiophile won't unless it's
Oh,
giving you the same quality that a wired headphone will give you. So like different perspective. But what would you go for? Hands down, same equation. Long story short, pick one.
the AirPod Maxes, just
Yeah.
for the ecosystem. Like if ecosystem had not held me down, I would probably stick to something cheaper. Like I would even go XM5s because
Yeah.
so Sony's doing a great job.
Yeah. Audio
Yeah, but
wise.
but ecosystem, of course, if it's ecosystem, me moving from a call on my iPhone back to my YouTube video on my iPad,
Hand
not
off,
just that,
baby. Hand off,
hand
and
off.
like
Yeah, not
so
just that,
good.
just the build quality. Like you get what
Agreed.
you get what you're paying for, and it stays that way for years, which is something
Yeah.
I'm like, although we have the latest iPhones and the latest devices, I would want to.
Yeah.
I'm maybe reaching an age where I want my devices to at least last me, 3 or 4 years.
For sure. For sure. I
So
want like
yeah,
my expensive headphones to last me 3 or 4 years at least. Like, I could change buds every now and then, but like I want these to last, and these do
and
last, bro. They're pretty
and
damn good.
unlike other consumer device and consumer products like a cell phone, a laptop, and a tablet device,
Yeah.
accessories lose value as soon as they leave the store. So you can't expect me to resell my AirPod Maxes.
Yeah.
I would be taking a hit of $300 if I want $300
For
at least
sure.
if I want to sell them in the secondary market, because you're wearing it on your body and whatever the
Yeah.
oils and
Wearable tech, bro.
hygiene, right?
Wearable tech.
Hygiene.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Agreed. So
So
Roses. I mean, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting.
yeah,
Like, should the average consumer who's watching this video right now, this podcast right now, go out and buy a pair of Sonos Ace? Hell no.
hell no,
Don't do it.
hell no,
Stick to
hell no with
with a
a
dot
app.
dot
Yeah.
or an asterisk on it, because
Uh,
we don't know enough yet. Like, that's what I think. Like,
yeah. And like I tell everybody,
yeah,
everybody who asks me, should I get an iPhone or an Android phone, and it's my first phone purchase, I tell them, go drive down to Best Buy, or if you're in India, drive down to a Reliance Digital and play with those
yeah,
devices before you buy them. Don't be
yeah,
one of those people who buys things off of Amazon and then returns it, because you're not doing the whole ecosystem a favor by
yeah,
having another dead
for
device out in
sure.
the open. Just guys, try it out.
You don't go out and buy the new Sonos headphones according to either of us. Then not yet.
Not yet.
Let's wait for what these turn out to be. Let's see how they age over the next 2 months. Let's see what the audio files generally have to say for them, and then we can have a conversation about this again, because that's what we do, right?
That's
Talk
what we
tech for
do.
fun. We're
But
those
that's fun.
kids.
Now, not so much fun are the people who are searching shit up on Google and coming out with
Ooh,
s-
yeah. Google
some
AI search has been acting
some
silly.
some really
I read the
funny
Verge article on
outcomes.
this.
So,
Yeah.
so
Google
the
apparently asked
Verge,
somebody to add some glue to their food. Yeah, the Verge just dropped this article on it. I was just like, bro, what the hell is... So, like, okay, for anyone who doesn't know, right? What we're talking about is Google's new AI-based search engine, right? So they've obviously ramped up everything, and like you can talk to your new generative AI search modules on every platform. And essentially what happened is somebody was assembling a pie and they threw it in the oven. And when they pulled it out, they saw that the cheese was like falling apart. So they went on to Google AI and asked Google AI, what should I do? And they expected cooking tips, which is what intelligence would give you.
Yes.
But this intelligence is just artificial, bro. It doesn't work normally. It's artificial intelligence. So it's different. They told them to put glue on their cheese.
Yep. Said and the funnier aspect is
I kind of wish like the FaceTime thingy happened where like
yeah, claps would show up, but from somebody who is avid pie eater, not so much anymore, but during university, like we were very like avid pie eaters. Um,
yeah.
some of the cheese that came off those came off those delivery boxes definitely could use some glue.
For
Or
sure.
the person who was making it was sniffing glue, but yeah. So I
Yeah,
totally
one of
see
the
you.
two. For sure. I'm gonna go with the person who was making or sniffing some glue. I don't know.
Yeah. So
No, so yeah,
like
but then like, this is a conversation, right? Like
yeah.
it's a perspective game again. It's I think to break this down, like, look, man, the Verge, and this is what I believe, right? The Verge can get extremely critical of things extremely fast, and this wasn't the way the Verge worked. The Verge was one
Yeah.
of the most valued tech sites in the world. Their videos on YouTube were amazing. They make high quality reviews on products. But now, over the last year and a half, the Verge has been, I don't know, it's been questionable the way they're looking at things. I think we need to give generative AI time. genuinely. Like, yeah, Google search got dumber, it's a fact, and we can laugh about it. But people are working on stuff, and you can't expect generative AI to be a chef for you necessarily at all times. It's not as instant as that. You got to give it more time. The more you interact with it, the more glue you put on your cheese, the smarter it's going to get and realize that that's not tasty, and because people are going to yell at it, and then like it's going to get better with time. So again, this is where like we're coming back to the same reason why we started the weekly tech fix, according to me, is you read a lot of jargon on the internet, you watch a lot of videos on the internet, you hear about a lot of stuff on the internet that is big worded or like it's glamorized, and like there's so much talk about, so much hype behind different things, and like people go on saying words that they don't even understand because they heard Tim Cook say it on stage, and there's so much shit behind it, wherein not all of it is real, and not all of it makes sense to a lot of people, and not all of it is for everyone, and not all of it is for you to fixate on and believe immediately. And this is just one of those articles where, I put it onto the show for the exact same reason where, or at least I suggested to put it onto the show for the exact same reason where I believe that you need to give technology time. You need to see what works for you. Just because there is now AI baked into everything, you don't go in and do your next assignment using AI because you might look stupid in class. Because just like everything else, there's a process, there is a time, there is an early adopter. You don't want to necessarily be an early adopter in your professional space. You can be an early adopter outside of your professional space or in your daily life. You can play around with it and you can experiment with it, but you don't want to use it use generative AI in situations where you could get hurt or you could screw up your job or kill somebody or give them bad advice. It's like you should know your boundaries with technology and you should understand what you're dealing with here.
So I know this
is my take.
Uh, three things. Firstly, about the Verge. I feel that the Verge has now just become they have become salty. And the reason why I chose why I felt that this was a good choice in terms of an article that you sent me was because of just the comical value that it holds. It's just so funny to see how such a big agency that writes about tech is just for the lack of a better word, shitting on a company like Google. And you don't have to hear it from me because I'm a nobody. But if somebody has their shit together, it is Google, for one.
For sure.
And if you don't believe me, just go see the recent earnings reports that they've put out. You will understand why the Verge is where it is at and why Google is where it is. And if you are trying to tell me that my kid in the future would be searching up what mammal has the most vertebrae and coming up with, say, a python, that's clearly not a mammal, that's basic common sense, and he's going to be influenced by that fact without asking more questions, then I'm sorry, this is a very on-surface way of looking at things. And
it's a very human problem.
Yeah, and like you were saying, artificial intelligence is in the word. Artificial intelligence. Artificial, not real.
Yeah, being
generative,
built.
Learning, ever watching, ever seeing. Intelligence. Will get better with time. Humans took a long time to get evolved. We learned that it was rude to sit with your feet on the chair, and then things take time.
For sure.
Like I said, the thing is, like, I'm not going to wear a tinfoil hat and going to be like it's going to be Judgment Day from the Terminator. But I'm just saying that AI is going to catch up and it's going to do things.
I was just thinking of Skynet.
Yeah,
I swear, I'm petrified of that shit.
I'm petrified.
I gotta find me John Connor immediately.
Yeah.
I like Apple not having any AI generators. I like it the way it is. I like smart computers, right? Like, I don't know.
But they do have certain aspects of machine learning and AI because
generative is what I'm actually talking about more than anything else.
Generative.
I don't want AI to start being the human being.
Yeah, like Siri can answer questions that are, that she could pull off. Oh, look at that! I just humanized Siri. That they could put. She could pull off because
you secretly love Siri, don't you, bro?
Yeah, I'm Rajesh Kutrapali from the Big Bang Theory. So
of course you are.
Yeah, Siri is a female's voice on my phone, right? So, there she is. There she is going to ask me something. Anyways, so Siri can reply to questions on anything that you ask that is available on the internet. But Siri is not coming up with these answers for you. That is what generative would do. it would come up with answers depending on all the knowledge that it has collected and all the
Yeah.
machine learning. So I
Yeah.
feel that we need to just give these things a little bit of time. I know
And
Google
hope it
blows
doesn't turn
its
into
own,
Skynet.
yeah, and I know Google blows its own horn by saying that they are up on the forefront of, on the cusp of doing something great with AI, but
They
it's going to
might
take a bit of
be.
time. It might take,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
going to take a
Google,
bit of time.
I think if anyone can do it well, okay, wait, no, that's the wrong way of saying it because every time I say that, I say Apple. But like, I think if anyone could do it well, other than Apple, it is Google because Google is typically not a hardware company still. It's still a software first
Software.
company. So I think they could do it really well. But I think if anyone could turn generative AI into Skynet, it's also Google.
I would put my money on Meta because
No, dude. I think Meta is just going to flood your life with advertisements and like put your life on like the internet and ruin your privacy, bro. Like they're
okay,
that company.
okay,
They could rob you at one point.
okay, let me put it in perspective for you this way. Google has aspect to certain aspects of your life, but Meta has access to all your social interactions on the internet. Now, if Skynet would come around, it would probably not only attack us on a physical front, but also on a social front. Imagine something coming out about your life on Meta, on Facebook, that would totally ruin your social equity, totally ruin your social standing. And it is just because AI decides that you are too much of an influencer, too much of a opinion creator on the internet, and it just totally destroys you by putting. You might think that harmless video of you toasting to a friend would be great, but then it just you know how what I'm talking about, right? You
I'm
know
deleting
about the
everything off of Facebook tonight. Like I'm going on there and like pulling everything.
yeah, just
I
imagine
get it. I get it. I get it.
a deep fake of you comes up, and AI is used to create these
Extremely
deep
good at
fakes.
remodeling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they create
dude.
these deep fakes, and it totally destroys your social life. It totally, things about you that you don't want your
Where
partner to know, you don't want your company to know is out there. So if
where's my European Union at? We
yeah,
got to redirect them towards Meta.
yeah,
They
yeah.
went after
So
like the most privacy focused company in the world.
yeah,
Go to Meta.
true.
Oh shit, dude. Yeah,
And
that makes
I
yeah,
feel
I agree.
a good end to this conversation would be that AI is going to take time, and
Yeah.
AI is going to take information. AI is going to take more care. AI is going to take more regulations. AI is going to take a lot more from us than it is going to give us in this very short span.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to leave it to people who know better about AI than two tech
The
nerds
word
talking about it. And the Verge.
and the
The
word.
Verge
Like,
and
what the
the
hell was up with
Verge.
that article, dude? Like, I saw it and
Yeah,
I laughed. I'm like, so the
this
first thing that
is
came to my mind when I saw this article, and this is something that has been on for so long, by the way. I saw this article and I was like, what's up with the Verge, right? Like, they're so negative about everything now, which is very weird. And it threw me back to half a year ago when the Shot on iPhone Scary Fast event happened. And they put out that really crappy article about all the additional light that you need. Guys, if you guys think the video quality on this video is actually nice, both the hosts, who are the most underrated YouTubers, by the way, on the platform, are using continuity camera,
iPhones.
using their back iPhones right now. So you don't need a lot of fancy lights. You just need lights in your living room, bro. That's what we're using right now, or in his bedroom. That's as simple as that. I got a light right up here, and that light is the light we use for dinner.
Exactly.
So stop listening. Like, what's up with the Verge? They've been doing this for a while, and they've been hating on everyone other than themselves, and like
That's
it's
without
really
getting
sad. Like,
without getting too wrapped up in the political aspect of the world. Hate
yeah.
pieces and hit pieces are getting more coverage and more bandwidth than probably two of us trying to spread positivity in the tech world. Nobody would care
Yeah.
about two guys talking positive stuff, but the moment we go at somebody, like if tomorrow I wake up and we
Yeah.
create a whole podcast around going behind say a humanoid or any other company, probably, say we go
Okay,
behind
basically
Nvidia.
shut down the rabbit, right? Or the human AI pin. Who
Yeah,
did shut
human
down?
AI.
Rabbit.
Yeah,
Oh,
like if we
dude,
go
yeah.
like if we go behind one of those things, I'm sure we'll blow up. But I don't think I'll be a better person from then on. I'll be sour as hell because that's what I'm reading, all the sour shit on the internet.
Thank you.
Anyways,
Thank
moving
you.
to moving ahead. The WWDC 2024. Jeez,
So like
jeez.
I have mixed emotions about this, right? Like, so it's an Apple event. Obviously, like, I'm an Apple fanboy. I wanna watch every aspect of it, right? I wanna do all of that stuff. But like, again, last year, I don't know, was it last year? I think it was last year, right? When we got the M2 chip in the MacBook Airs. Yeah,
Yeah, it's last year.
yeah. So last year, we got like the new MacBook Air, correct?
Yep.
And like that, honestly, like above everything else, like I like seeing new hardware, bro. I'm a hardware person. I love software, and I'm really excited about iOS 18. And yeah, it's gonna make my phone feel new and all that stuff. I want new MacBooks, bro. Where
I
where the
want new
Macs?
MacBooks.
Where my iPad Mini?
I want my
Give me
MacBook.
my iPad Mini.
I want my MacBook Pros, but I also don't want my MacBook Pros because
I don't want MacBook Pros. I just
I
bought
feel
my
that
MacBook.
yeah, exactly. And I bought one few months away ago before you did, and I don't want a
Yeah.
new MacBook Pro now because I'm going to feel like
No,
shit if it comes out with M4, and
bro.
then they
Like
tell
I'll
you
just cry.
yeah, oh, you know what we went and did? We did that tandem OLED on the on the MacBook Pro
Bro,
as
I'll
well.
cry.
I'll cry.
I'll
I'll cry.
cry,
I'll be
bro.
like, I'm done. I'm done.
So
I'm done.
like the rundown of WWDC will be one take EDC is Kevin sitting and talking about what happened and Nitin Chawla weeping on the other side. Will
Leaving on the
mute
other
me?
side.
It's just like footage of me crying. Like the amount of money this damn computer has cost me right now. And like
Yeah.
that being said, it costs everyone the same amount of money. This is not one of those conversations, but I will cry if 3 weeks later, after buying this computer, they come out with an M4 MacBook Pro with better specs and a tandem OLED display, like for the
Yeah.
same price.
For the same price, and
I
it'll
will
be very
I will
difficult.
tweet I will tweet at Tim Cook every day, morning, afternoon, and evening, and hate on him after that. Like, bro, why do you do
Yeah,
this to me?
but hardware perspective, what do you think would be, because we know Apple Vision Pro is not going to come out anytime soon with a new
No, no, for
iteration.
sure. Vision Pro is dead.
So, what do you think? Do you think we'll get new Mac Studios, or is Mac Studio also a demographic that has now become niche?
It's very niche. Mac Studio will come with the M4 next year. M4
Um,
Ultra. I don't even remember what they call it anymore.
do you think
Like,
they
it's
could
just
do
so niche.
Ultra? Do you think they could do, because they've not done M3? I think they're still at M3 Pro. I don't think M3 Ultra is out yet.
M3 Max is out.
Max is out. Yeah, they've done
So
M3
Ultra will come.
Max.
I think Ultra will come for the studio.
Ultra will come for the studio. Do you think they'll do
Yeah.
M4? They'll just skip M3 altogether just because of the efficiency gains and go M4?
Yeah, I mean, considering they're working on the newer architecture 3 nanometer chips now, for anyone who doesn't understand what we're saying, guys, Apple makes chips. These are the micro system on a chip. That's the thing that powers all your devices. So M3, M4, all of these are basically microprocessors. The systems on chips. You have everything on one chip. So like sometimes you make a good chip that's really thermally efficient. Sometimes a company makes a bad chip. And basically what we use, what Apple uses is chips from this company called TSMC. And their first set of chips that were in 3 nanometers, basically the size, it's tiny, right? So basically,
It's small.
yeah, it's microchips basically. The first set of 3 nanometer chips came out for the iPhone 15s. Remember how your iPhone 15 gets a little hot sometimes? That is basically because those chips are not as thermally efficient as they were predicted to be. The yield, or let's dumb it down even more, like the chips weren't as great as what they should have been for the architecture. So now they're working on new 3 nanometer chips, which are really good and much more efficient and less heat, basically. So yeah, coming back to that, they could. I think they could skip M3 because M3 was based on the old architecture. So,
Do you think Apple has gotten enough pressure in terms of feedback as well as people hounding them that possibly like there is a small, teeny, tiny hope that the iPad Mini 7 could get announced?
No.
Okay.
I have a feeling they're gonna want to keep this iPad thing going till the end of the year. So like they're gonna spread it out. They just had a massive iPad only event, so they're gonna wait for the holiday season for that. Also, the iPad Mini is so niche again. It shouldn't be, but it is. There's not a lot of people buy that device. It is for select group of people, right? Like If you're working in a restaurant, you don't use an iPad mini, you use a regular iPad. You want a bigger menu, right? You're working in a supermarket, you're working in an office, you're working at a construction site. Mini is great for all of that, but then the regular bigger screens are better for all of that. The iPad mini is a great personal device. It's a great device for pilots. It's a great device for DJs on the go to sort their music and do shit like that. It's a great content consumption device, Kindle replacement. But these are all personal uses, and you can do this on other iPads as well and integrate those other iPads into your workflow as well. So no, I don't think so.
All right.
iPad mini is not a working device. It's a great all-in-one. It's a jack of all trades, but master of none. That's how you look at it.
So I think
they're going to hold it off.
They're going to hold off.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Unfortunately, I want to get me an iPad mini. I'm actually thinking of getting an iPad mini 6 again after selling it.
I know. I'm tempted to. I'm tempted to, but it's not a problem. It's just it ticks so many boxes for us.
Yeah,
like
when I
can speak
after I sold it. Yeah, after I sold it, I kind of miss it now. So
yeah,
for sure.
So what I was saying is
that I'll come to your weekly tech fix, boys and girls.
Yeah,
this is what you get here.
It's what you get here. So talking about this hardware again, this is not going to be the main focus of WWDC, but this is just what we are expecting. Staying on the hardware route a bit, what do you feel? What do you feel in terms of like inviting new people into the Apple ecosystem? And we were speaking that what would be the ideal way to say, all right, I have X amount of money to spend. I don't want to spend the most amount of money. I want to spend the least amount of money, but I also want to enjoy everything that Apple has to offer. On the top of your head, if you were to recommend a friend or a family member of how he could get into the Apple ecosystem for all the benefits that it provides on a software front, what would it be?
So you're talking to me about multiple Apple products or just one?
Multiple Apple products. Because there's always a gateway product. Now, that's a good question as well. What would be your gateway product, your gateway drug into the Apple ecosystem?
The iPhone. The iPhone SE.
iPhone SE. Yeah, because we would like to show everybody that you are one of the proud owners of an SE.
I love the SE. I have it. It's my backup phone. I don't have it on the table right now, but I'm going to edit it in and show you the footage of it. But I have the iPhone SE. It is such a bomb phone, dude. It has terrible battery life. Don't buy it for the battery. But everything else is great.
Everything else is great. So the SE
it's such
would
a
be...
good phone.
The
Yeah,
SE would
sure.
be... But don't
30
you think
grand
that...
in India. 35 grand in India. Something like that, if I'm not wrong. And look, so we're talking about gateways here. We're not talking about the product that you look at and go like, whoa, I got to get that, right? So when you're just talking about great product and gateway, terrible battery life, iPhone SE.
Great.
There you have it. I don't even need to make a review on it for this anymore.
It's still an iPhone. All right. So the iPhone, and do you think, is it a three product ecosystem where I say that these three products will suffice? Because everything else I feel is just an add-on. Like if I was your gateway would be buy the newest, cheapest iPhone, because that's going to give you the although Apple is notorious for supporting devices all the way back to I think that
10S is being dropped this year. No, 10 is being dropped this year. 10S is still there. We're getting iOS 18.
That's crazy.
7 years.
That's crazy.
7. 5, 6
so I
years.
would say get the latest iPhone, the cheapest iPhone that you can get, which is a 15, which is the base model. Or you can also go as far as getting the 14. A 13 is where I draw the line, because I want you to have the best experience in terms of camera, battery life, software, all of the things. And
iPhone SE.
iPhone SE. I would say the iPhone 13 mini is the one that got away. It's the one that got away.
It sucks that Apple stopped making the mini models. Like, what the hell's up with the Plus? I don't want a Plus. I want a mini. The mini is
mini.
It is the ideal backup. So I have an SE because it's a great backup iPhone, right? Because I shoot everything on my iPhone, and my iPhone 15 Pro stays in a tripod when I'm traveling or when I'm on board a ship. And one ding and this falls and that's it. My main phone is gone. So I have an iPhone SE. If the mini model still existed, I would have the 15 mini. And that's what would be my backup. That'll be the one. The one that got away. So my mom had the 12 mini for a while. It was a brilliant phone.
It was brilliant. Battery life again, but But the
Come on, I
13
live with the
mini,
SE. I can't complain about that,
yeah,
Shimesh.
if you get a 13 mini in the market, which it's currently available, it's still holding great value. In Canada, you
Agreed.
can grab a good something that has good still has good battery capacity for like around 450 500 CAD, which is bad because it's older.
Expensive.
It's older. It's an older device. But yeah,
It's
for me
expensive.
it'll be the 13 mini, the 14 or the 15. I wouldn't go beyond the 13 because
Okay.
I still want you to
Yeah,
enjoy that
yeah.
the whole
I
screen.
understand where you're coming from. Yeah. The
Beyond
full
the
screen
12,
experience.
beyond the 12 iPhones, the base iPhones didn't even have OLED screens. So after 12
Yeah.
onwards, you have OLED screens. So
My iPhone
would you
SE is crying in the corner right now.
would you say that the second device that a person should get would be a wearable, or is it an iPad or a Mac? Because you can't have both in something that is sort of a budget gateway to the ecosystem. Would you say a
MacBook Air.
person M1 is where I
M1.
it's yeah,
M1 is what I
exactly.
was saying next.
Exactly.
M1.
M1.
That is the
I,
cheapest, best MacBook to buy, hands down.
ever. And it'll do everything you wanted to do, even if you want to get into
You can do
YouTube and do
this.
1080p. Yeah, if you want to do
This.
1080p, video
4K, bro.
editing, 4K
If you're
as
shooting on
well.
an iPhone, you can do 4K editing on the M1 because the M1 can take iPhone 4K. It's
It's
built around
sleek.
it.
It's sleek. It's fanless. 10 hours of battery life. The screen's great. The keyboard's excellent.
And you get a design that's gone. So
And
like that's a
it's
collectible.
timeless. It's
That's the
timeless.
wedge. Yeah, that's the original wedge design. Like that's Steve Jobs era stuff, right? Like so Johnny Ive actually. But like that is the timeless design. You want that. Like you're not gonna get that back because everything's gonna be squared out or foldable apparently in the near future. So you're doomed on that front. So
Before Apple designers went out to make toothbrushes, they made the
yep,
M1. It was the M1
yep,
MacBook Air is what it was. So
yeah.
so iPhone, MacBook, something to tie them together. What would you say? Would AirPods be the third link to the ecosystem?
Depends. Depends.
Okay.
If you're a fitness enthusiast, I would say Apple Watch.
Okay. Okay.
If you're a fitness enthusiast. Because you can still work without AirPods. You can get
Mhm.
Beats, right? And we're not
Mhm.
looking at Beats as a part of Apple as a brand. We're talking about Beats, the brand on its own, which is cheaper. You don't need to go all the way up to AirPods. You can still get the job done in the Apple ecosystem with Beats. Or you can
Mhm.
get Bose, or you can get Sony, or you can get Boat, or you can get Soundcore, and they're all great in their own way, right? They can give you wireless audio. But what the Apple Watch gives you, no other wearable gives you. Not even the Pixel Watch, not even the Garmin's kind of can, but they don't give you the Apple ecosystem. The Apple Watch
So
ties in just perfectly between health benefits and the Apple ecosystem and a mini computer on your wrist and taking phone calls on the go,
phone
having music
calls.
on the go, and it just puts everything together. Like it is a great device.
I agree, but it's one thing that you really changed my mind about this, that the Apple Watch should be the device you should get, is also for
Yeah,
the fact that the SE does so much work that you don't need to
yeah.
even go all the way up to the Ultra or the Apple Watch edition. You
Get
can
the
just
cheapest Apple Watch that
cheapest.
Apple sends you, right? Like
If you
you
get
won't get heart rate tracking on the SE. That's the one fitness feature that you might try for. If you want that, get onto Amazon. Don't buy a Series 9, buy a Series 8. It'll still be cheap as hell. Or buy a Series 7, it'll still be cheap as hell. And you'll get heart rate tracking,
and
like heart rate monitoring.
you can get the best of everything that Apple has to offer on your wrist. Yeah, you need to charge it every night probably, but
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So that I agree with the Apple Watch. For me, I think the reason why I would choose AirPods, just the basic AirPods 2, or if you
Yeah.
can get your hands on the AirPods 3, if it's available and
So
it's
good.
priced
So good.
competitively.
So good though.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't go as far as to say get the Pros, because the Pros are still ridiculously expensive for what they offer.
It's not
Maxes
budget by any
it's
means.
Maxes are
Bro,
out.
Maxis have left the building.
I've
Like
left the
when you
building.
started talking about this, Maxis went, took their business class flight and bounced.
Yeah,
They're not in this conversation anymore.
because a lot of people talk about the ideal setup, and for that I say that
Mm.
you just go to MacBook, just go to apple.com, apple.ca, or apple.in, and just scroll to all the and click on all the highest specs they have, and then
Yeah.
just add to cart. That's it. That's it. But
Yeah,
when
well,
it comes to
that's luxury living, bro.
yeah, that's but when it comes to going budget, that's where you need to prioritize things,
You need to find a
right? So
balance.
find a balance. So the reason I say
So then you go to
AirPods,
Amazon.com
you go to
and get a
Amazon.
MacBook
Yeah,
Air
my
M1 from there, right?
M1, and it's still available, and it's still very decently priced. It's
It's I was working on it. Like I was traveling a few days ago and I went to see this friend and then like we ended up chilling and using the computer and so you can DJ off of that thing. It has the power to do it. You can get a GarageBand, you can load up Logic Pro on it. It can run Final Cut Pro with like decent 4K footage. Not heavily intensive, but just to do a proper rough cut edit and throw on a title and music and a little bit of like bare bones graphics. Oh man, can
That's
do.
true. That's true. And
Can
the
do.
reason I'm saying the AirPods, even at AirPods 3 probably, or the AirPods 2,
Mm.
or is just the handoff between your iPhone and your MacBook.
It's beautiful. It's
It's
beautiful.
it will give you that sort of
So then
experience that nothing else
I
offers.
but I think you already get the handoff experience with the iPhone SE or the iPhone 13 mini, whichever, or the 13 or whatever you suggested, and the MacBook Air already. So you're getting like handoff when it comes to work,
Yeah,
right? So like when you're looking at budget, you want to look at functionality over experiences necessarily. And work is the first reason you would invest into tech. Like
yeah,
in our
true.
world, you want something, you
Exactly.
want your tech to return something to you in your life, right?
So
So
just pay
like
for itself.
the
Yeah,
AirPods, exactly. The AirPods handoff and the connectivity is beautiful and it's magical. And that's a very Apple thing to say, but it is, but it can wait,
but can wait. Okay, that makes sense. Can wait. The Apple Watch.
right?
The
Right.
Apple Watch.
If you run using this and, or if you fall using this and you have fall detection on and somebody can save your life off of it,
That's
bro,
crazy. Crazy.
bro, it
That's
didn't pay for
crazy.
itself. It paid for, you paid for your life right there.
Paid for your life. Just
That's it.
the
Tim
fact
Cook,
that
I just realized Tim Cook has to employ me, bro. I could be his marketing head in India. I could do this shit.
yeah, we could push the boundaries there. Fall
Yeah.
detection was so great. Apart from the fact that the Ultra can backtrack. Suppose you're at a
Steps.
campsite and you can backtrack to a campsite without
Yeah.
having any internet connection, connecting to just
Insane.
in
Insane.
air, and then you're there.
Electronic
crazy.
compass, bro. Electronic
crazy.
compass and
It's
waypoints.
crazy.
That's the shit
It's
we do on
crazy.
ships.
That's crazy. The devices, I think, yeah, that's all you need to get into the Apple ecosystem. Everything that you
For
add
sure.
to it would be just you
A taller
flexing.
walled garden.
Just you flexing. iPad, I would not recommend anybody to get an iPad if you don't need it. Please don't go out there and spend your hard-earned money. So rich coming from us who have both devices, and
I don't.
but we
I
use.
don't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
I don't have an iPad anymore.
Okay. So yeah. So rich
I'm
coming
a
from us, but
minimalist now, bro.
yeah, but we already damn, you're just one device less. Sad. Okay, you're a minimalist.
So like Matt Diavella's gonna throw shit at me when he sees this. He's
Yeah,
gonna
it's like,
find me and come punch me and go like, minimalist my ass, come here.
it's like I'm going to
But
close my
like,
channel down because you're a minimalist now. You're doing my job for me, so it's fine. But yeah,
minimalist, bro.
minimalist.
Minimalist.
I take my
Alright.
calls and listen to my music on my headphones.
Dude,
On my
I don't need two
$1,000
things.
headphones.
500. It's 500.
Yeah, I'm sure you bought it when it was like expensive.
650.
Like,
Six,
yeah,
550, 600.
that's steep. Steep.
That was a rough day.
I got mine very later, so I still took a hit, but it was fairly later.
You know what sucks?
What
There's
sucks?
there are rumors about a new one coming out soon.
With USB-C,
Bite me.
it's just going to be USB-C. That's what I'm saying. I don't know why people are salty. Just carry an extra cable. You anyways carry one. Just carry an extra cable.
Bro, I carry like 5 lightning cables. I don't even know what I do with them. Like my tech pouch just has like, it has micro USB, it has lightning. So it's like the whole dream of like one cable to charge them all, I'm legit living it, minus the AirPods. Yeah, there you go.
These travel everywhere, and there are only cables in here.
I'll tell you what. I will buy the new AirPods Max if they change this piece of shit case.
They are not going to.
I know.
There was not too much pushback. Although there was great pushback, even MKBHD said, like, why? But MKBHD doesn't make the decisions at Apple, and he will never make decisions at Apple because Apple is too big.
I know they won't do it, but if they do it,
If they do it.
if there is one one reason that's not the audio quality or like real improvements that could push me to get the damn new thing, because they're not going to let me buy a new case because Apple's smart like that. They're not going to let you buy the new case.
True.
So
They
like I
might,
will do that. But no, anyways, like long story short, yeah, let's get back to the topic, bro. I think, yeah, I think Apple Watch, MacBook, and budget iPhone.
budget
Within your
iPhone.
budget iPhone. Within your budget iPhone. Whatever your budget.
We were also talking about how different the technology is. The difference between an M1 MacBook Air and an M3 MacBook Air, apart from the screen and the notch and all the irrelevant things they have done to the MacBook, there's a
Ray
lot of
tracing.
there's a lot of on a device that has no fans, mind you, shit's going to heat
There's,
up
there's this
and
channel.
crash.
There's this YouTube channel. It's called Wolfden. I
Yeah,
love that dude.
I was Wolfman a lot. Yeah,
I want him to play a game that utilizes hardware encoded ray tracing on a MacBook
Resident
Air.
Evil Village on an Air.
I don't know if he's done that video, but I'm dying to see that because he will
It's going to be
kill Apple.
funny. It's going to be
Bro, that
funny.
dude is so cool. Yeah, but anyways, like, yeah, what you said, like, it's incremental. After a point, it all gets incremental. And the only reason why so many computers are coming out and Apple's also chugging out M3 and M2 in the same year, M2 in February, M3 in November, is because
insane.
companies like Qualcomm are catching up. So the M1 hype that built, and you know, that revolutionary moment where M1 came out and you had a 13-inch crappy touch bar MacBook Pro that could actually edit a lot of video now because like it had an M1 chip on the inside. It was a really powerful computer, and we do a lot of video editing analogies here because that's what we do. But like you could do everything on it, and it was the computer to have. And people like mega YouTubers who shoot on 8K have edited their videos on an M1. And yeah, that moment, right? Like that defining moment in history is dying for Apple. And that next moment was supposed to be Vision Pro prototype.
We all know
So-
how that went.
I mean, it's not bad. It's a great device. It is the best device that it is the best AR VR device on the market.
Yep.
But the way they went about it is shitty. And obviously, like, it's not available everywhere. So how can it be your next big thing? So it's not. So
Zuckerberg doesn't agree with you. Zuckerberg doesn't agree with you. The Quest 3 is
I don't agree with
superior.
Zuckerberg. He's building Skynet. He's not allowed to be a part of this conversation, bro. Like,
Exactly.
let the Verge handle Zuckerberg, right?
Yeah, the Verge. But the Verge is pseudo owned by Zuckerberg because they just shit on everybody else apart from Facebook. But I think they do a Facebook hit piece as well once in a while.
They do. I guess they do. But okay, irrespective, yeah, like the upgrades are now incremental. Apple has obviously come to a point where you don't need to buy the best product they're dropping. The other ones are pretty good. You can downsize as long as you know what works for you. That's technology, right? Like technology is not about having the latest and greatest. It sucks. It's coming from me because I'm the epitome of wrong things when I push technology and bad purchase decisions. Don't ever look at my Amazon account. But yeah, guys, like at the end of the day, it's what works for you. I went from a Sony to a Fujifilm and a lot of GoPros before that, a lot of GoPros with that, a lot of GoPros after that, to multiple other like cameras at the same time. And I've finally downsized to just an iPhone because it works the best for me. And it has the smallest sensor compared to all those big APS-C and like full frame camera. There are all these drawbacks of shooting on an iPhone, but it works. It's doing this right now. So I guess it's all about finding what works best for you. And that's where the whole budget conversation came from for us, right? Like,
yeah.
This is what we were discussing. Like, it is what it is.
The fact that even cameras have taken a big leap, that's what I'm saying, that if you want to experience like a lot of things that Apple is doing, even on that front, you would want to look at something that's a little newer than the 11 or the 10 or the 12 even, because on 12 onwards, I think the cameras really took. The 12 Pro cameras on the 13 mini are insane. Like,
for sure.
I like to tell people that you can use your iPhone to take great shots. It's turning out to be a fact now with 15 Pro with all that zoom and everything. The
Apple Pro RAW and
Periscope,
ProRes Log.
Periscope lens and all that's crazy.
Bro, Pro RAW and ProRes Log have been. That's the reason I shifted completely to the iPhone. Like, it's just good.
I can't believe that in my lifetime I could say that a mobile device that could make calls could also record vlog video. It is insane. It is insane.
So I think we've come down to like what this channel is actually going to be about. I think you all know which all channels you have to subscribe to. There are 3 in total, so definitely hit that button. Definitely give this video a thumbs up as well. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. This is your weekly tech fix, right?
Yeah,
We're gonna
so
keep
weekly
doing
tech
this.
fix, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Like, share, subscribe. Put this out to as many people as you can. Unfortunately, we will not be doing any of our podcasts in Hindi. So
Yeah.
apologies on that. But someday when we're drunk enough, probably that would be something we could
Probably.
experiment with.
Yeah. We should be in the same country though for that.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys
All right.
have a good day, and thank you so much, Nitin, for taking out time.
For
And
sure. This is don't thank me, bro. This is what I've been wanting to do since I was a little kid. Sit and talk tech with people.
likewise. I am Kevin at One Take EDC, and
I'm
Nitin,
Nitin
if you do your
who basically makes lifestyle tech and life at sea videos. So definitely subscribe to both our channels. Subscribe to your weekly tech fix on all social platforms because we cool like that. And yeah, that's basically it, guys.
all right, cheers.